today, but Stumpy, you're with me today, and Team Liquid, they are peaking at pretty much the perfect time.
They are making sure that they're giving us an incredible ending to this fantastic final regional where they haven't managed to squeak past the quarterfinals previously. In fact, they've only made it there once, and that was in the first regional we saw them in. And now, grand finals. They've not had an easy road here, but they are going to want to improve and continue to push as hard as they can, because a win versus KC would be a real statement.
It would be a real statement, especially considering Karmine Corp have got every chance of being the most dominant team from EU or North America going into the Rotterdam Major. Everybody was talking about Gen G, but Karmine Corp's achievements so far are overshadowing even them.
Well, it depends. It depends, because so far we've seen Gen G get second, first. Right now, we've seen 1 second and 1 first for KC. The worst, KC draw with them. That's what we're looking at. And if they can manage to get the win, yes, they are going to be the most dominant team that we've seen coming from either of those regions. So they've still got a lot on the line, as well as the money. But that seeding, it was mentioned on that lovely little desk we had a minute ago, that the seeding is so important going into this major because they are right now split, Liquid, between 2nd and 4th. If they win this, they go 2nd in Europe, and they therefore go through to the major, facing off versus Team Secret in that first round. If they come 4th, however, by losing this grand final, they will be against version 1. A slightly different, power strength we're seeing them out right now, V1, but still a horrible team to play against as our Secret. A little bit rock and a hard place, sure, but there's still, that amount to play for, because that'll affect your seeding going through into the other rounds in the beautiful Rotterdam Swiss.
V1, who you say they've stopped a little bit, but they did win one of the majors. Sorry, one of the regionals, not one of the majors.
Crumbs.
Missed that one. Yeah, we all forgot that. You guys forgot V1 of the major. Anyway, yeah, lots of good teams going to Rotterdam. It's going to be exciting to see, but this game is going to be exciting first in this series, especially with passes like that. Karmine Corp, the first minute and 40 seconds, they were just chilling. Suddenly one pass, it's that simple.
Vatira in the sky is going to be immediately terrifying. And a Chronic, because he commits so early to it, which was the right decision, Oski was back, it just means that he's able to send it towards the right. Itachi can then shoot, going perfectly top corner as well with it. And that's Vatira again assisting. He is right now #1 in assists throughout this entire tournament, and the only player to have over 1 assist per game, and he's at 1.2. He's been an incredible playmaker for Karmine.
Team Liquid, whether or not they win this grand finals, Vatira goes over the top, might score a beautiful double. Another bad Team Liquid. Let's talk more about KC.
Squoze it in as gently as he like. Again, just taking it to the air over a Chronic again. And then with that backside of his car, can tap it in right below the crossbar. Those angles are ones that you think, is that too acute? Is that impossible? Not for a man like him.
What I was going to say was whether or not Team Liquid win or lose this grand finals, they are really starting to fulfill their promise from last season. They came together, as Oski might put this one away, to make it 2-1 in spring last season. From there, they made their first major at the first opportunity, couldn't make Worlds. This season, they're doing even better.
Oski receiving that pass well from a Chronic. It was nobody up on the side of KC, not realising that pass came in potentially, and now only breaking that down to a single goal difference between them. A lot of rapid goals in the last 30 seconds or so. So looking for KC to either continue their lead or for Oski to carry it over the top. Atto nearly getting on the end of Oski's air dribble. Chronic to shoot, but Exotic intercepting nicely. With 30 boost in the left wing to his disposal. He misses the mid boost, and Oski with that back 100 gets 50 alongside. And with 0 boost versus 100, the man with 0 comes out on top.
Atto tried to dive in, but Oski, he was just a little bit awkward. He was backwards, and his backflip just fell right into the path of Itachi, who read it perfectly. A good start from Karmine Corp continues. They are having no grand finals jitters this time around. They're on for the double. 2 regional victories in a row to take to the major. It would be huge for them and their 15 billion now fans.
The blue wall just continues to add bricks. And it's so nice to see, especially, we're going to be seeing a European major. We're going to be seeing a lot of these KC fans. They've gained a lot since being at World, since being in London as well. The next goal coming in the form of Itachi, dimming it across his tongue.
Look at that, the double tap from Exotic. That was nice enough. But then to have the speed, the presence of mind to pick out Itachi. Karmine Corp aren't overdoing these passes, but everyone they make has so much precision. There's already a player there in front of them. The balance is flawless from them at the moment.
And it's the hat-trick for Itachi as well, with 1 assist on the side of Vatira and Exotic with 2 himself. It has been Itachi on the end of as many as they are able to send at him. Just bombarding that back orange net as Chronic now has to try and get this ball out from the back left corner. Exotic touching down, but with the demo coming in, Oski saves away from that goal as Itachi's removed to his back corner, but picks it up on the blue backboard.
That was a chance, from their own half. Team Liquid, I think if they'd have rolled that one on target, the player respawning wouldn't have got there on time, but it wasn't quite accurate enough. And Vatira can clear long. Team Liquid just starting to begin a little bit of a comeback. They've stemmed the flow, at least for now, of Karmine Corp, but as I say that, they're having to do more defending until it's near post. Vatira into the center, and for once, the pass, it did make its way to Itachi because Team Liquid are so deep, but I don't think that was its intended recipient.
Vatira a couple of times has very much been the intended recipient because he's trying to drop it down central after receiving one pass himself. He wants to be the conduit between greatness on that KC side.
A couple of backflips there from Exotic in a row, and it allows Oski in. Team Liquid just seem to have stepped up just a little bit in the past 40 seconds or so. Can they make it work? The pass is there. Oski's miss goes as far as Atto. It's worked out well for them, but it's just a little bit loose. And I think that's the difference between these two teams right now. KC, every touch they make is really bad. Really bad.
No. Carry on.
Every touch they make is exactly where they want it to be. No misplaced passes from the Karmine Corp boys.
That is lovely positioning, in fairness, from Atto. The fact that he's waiting midfield and sees that Vatira is going to be low on boost as well. He wants to flip. You can't cancel that. It goes central, and Atto is there to make sure that he is in a shooting position as well. Again, getting a touch in the midfield with Itachi sending it high. It falls back down to a Chronic, but Atto now in that back line. Not able to get back in time with zero boost. Oski has to do something. Exotic misses a rare chance. Did not expect that to come directly down. Now Atto on the prowl for a demo.
Yeah, Team Liquid had a chance to counter-attack, but it didn't quite happen. Exotic over the top, so Oski has to come back. Now there was a decent clearance to the side. Karmine Corp continuing their game plan of trying to find these passes into the center. Perhaps Team Liquid are wising up to it, but they have to get back now, and they do not really have enough boost to deal with an attack like this one. Now they've got the ball. They need to get it down to the KC half. It's impossible for them at the moment, Stumpy, and it does seem that despite a late flourish from Team Liquid, Karmine Corp will take game one.
The game somewhat representing what we saw from them throughout this split as well. The fact that they started off with a couple of losses in those goals and then finally scoring a few a little bit too late, and Oski missing out on that wonder goal himself. If that went in, then maybe we're going to be looking at the late flourish in this game. I'm trying to make these echo between each other, and somehow that ball staying up until Vatira slams it down, pops the ball in his own back garden. KC, game number one going their way.
Passes. See Itachi in the center, get in the ball, and good things will happen. But despite scoring 2 goals fewer than Itachi, Vatira, the top scorer there for Karmine Corp, he was so involved, not just in attack, 4 saves as well as his 3 shots. So he was just doing so much for Karmine Corp. Best player in the world, in your opinion, at the moment?
I agree with Johnny. I really do. I think there's nobody in EU that I would say is over him right now. In North America, I'd be looking at Nolly, I think, as my other top player in the world, but otherwise I don't think I wouldn't put anyone above him. I wouldn't put Nolly above him. I think it's Vatira as number 1. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think you can deny the fact that he is so far a standout player. I mean, you mentioned Nolly, but any one of the Gen G players could be, in conversation for the most influential of the Gen G roster. I mean, I was apparently Jack. He's the one who's scoring the goals. But yet you make the point that they're all capable of it. Whereas in Karmine Corp, I don't think there's an argument, as good as Exotic and as Itachi have been, that they are doing more for the team than Vatira. Every time he gets the ball, opposition defenses look petrified. And that, to me, is the sign that you are looking at the supreme player in Rocket League right now.
I mean, it's also a case of, even if you're just not going off that eye test and you look at the stats, he is at the top in so many, especially on the side of KC as well. He is, as I said, got the most assists per game. He is carrying on the side of Karmine for their team stats to get them to the highest goals per game. Exotic is up there right now with just over 1 himself, but Karmine is scoring nearly 3 per game. They concede the least amount of goals in the league right now. They assist the most in general across. They are so dominant across nearly every stat, and Liquid are either second or third behind them. So this is the 2 best teams in this event, at least, that we've seen come through to the grand finals. But KC have been up there for a little while, where, as you said, this late flourish from Liquid is what's been pushing them up the rankings.
Here's Oski coming in. To the backboard he goes, but Exotic was aware of it and got a huge clearance long. Tachi's got no boost, but he's just trying to force the ball high, which he did. And then look at the composure from the team as well. Even though there was no boost there, the fact that he forced it high, he had players in the center that were just waiting for that ball. And it shows why KC, I think Johnny mentioned in the last series, that even when they didn't have much boost, they look so comfortable. It's like they have a plan for absolutely everything that can happen on the pitch. Apart from that, I need to stop praising them, because every time I do, they make the one mess up per game.
If you're going to stop praising KC, then that leads you to being completely mute for this entire series, which, as nice as that would be, I don't think is good for a broadcast.
Well then, I'll carry on speaking, and I will talk about a massive doink, a little pop-up towards the backboard, which Atto just sends that wide. Vatira is there. A bit of boomer ball this time. I think we've lost the shape of this game, and I think that sums it up. Atto and the newly rebranded Akron diving into each other rather than the ball. But I think Liquid will be happy about the fact this one's a little bit scrappier.
Yeah, Liquid certainly, when the form starts to set in and the mold is really being solidified on the side of KC, it's hard to then break that. Whereas when it's scrappier, it's a little bit weirder and there are strange things happening. That's when Liquid are able to have it fit more to their flow.
It's actually over the top, though. Can get into his own flow now, but Oski gets the block. Exotic beating Oski to the ball. It's happening all too often for Liquid. Second to each touch. It's a really nice transition from them. Can they make anything from it? Oh, Itachi charging it down so quickly. Atto waited. The Chronic's coming in. Oski has to win this race. He does just about, but Vatira got almost enough. Well, actually, it was just about enough. Now Exotic and Atto.
Block.
Yeah, lovely blocks coming in. It's all tilted at the moment. This could be the moment that changes somehow. Still, Itachi saves.
Itachi, you're ludicrous, pal. He had a player on Liquid bearing down on him. The flip reset was threatened, and yet he maintains that full composure, waits on the goal line, and then can save it to the bottom left. Brilliant movement from him, making sure that anything he does on the backside is completely effectual against the attacks that we're seeing come in from Liquid.
Was that another save as well from Vatira? Flying in from the side. It looked like Liquid were going to get their lead. Still Mo. Now Oski. Onto the the ceiling. Tachi and Atto going in. KC just keeping this ball out somehow. They always manage to find a way, and you just know all they need is one chance, and they will punish Liquid for these missed opportunities.
Chance for Exotic to push in this 0-0 that's become somewhat, not cagier, but definitely less crazy as we've seen the previous game go. On Aquadome, we're seeing a little bit this game settle more. Vatira picks up 100 on the right-hand side, and then attack versus a Chronic, but a Chronic beats him out. Seeing Exotic now go to the backboard. Can you get that double in the center? Vatira's going to be there. Vatira's going to be scoring.
Have as many shots as you like against KC. If you don't score them, all it takes is one moment. This time it's Exotic, and look at the perfection of that pinch. It's so deft. It's a beautiful touch there from Exotic.
It was so quick going onto that ball, and yet just the perfect placement of his car. Pinches it over the defender, but straight into the goal line. If I'm doing that, it's either dropping down and I bounce off it awkwardly like a dog running into a conservatory window, or you're seeing it fly off and ping into the opposite half.
Almost another straight away from Karmine Corp. And now Liquid have to balance rushing into everything. With also the fact they still have 50 seconds left, so should be enough to get themselves on the scoreboard without overthrowing too much. Exotic clears away. Oski's underneath, parts into the centre, into the corner. Oh, it's high. It was a decent finish. But two KC players could have keep it out. Again, there's another one. It could have been a pass. It almost came back to a Liquid player, but Oski is all the way back, and Karmine Corp survive again.
Atto was waiting central. The pass could have come in. Yes, you're low on boost to Chronic, but there is a man waiting for you. Your shot is going to be rubbish there. Get it towards somebody who's waiting midfield, who can then sling it bottom corner, top right, wherever it ends up being. Oski now has to rush back. The final 15 seconds, the 1-goal lead for KC. Oski goes high, but Exotic goes higher with the Chronic now in the midfield. Beats out one. Gets the reset with only 10 boost. He can't get to that ball. Oski, though, can pass it.
He's done it.
Atto can wait. Retribution for Liquid.
This time, the decision-making was correct. It wasn't the snapshot. It was the pass into the centre. Exotic didn't assume it would come in. Atto did. And Liquid do get their equaliser. But there's still 2 seconds left. We saw plenty of kickoff goals go the way of KC in the last series. Will they get one here?
Not against a team that I'm sure has been practicing an amount of kickoffs, unlike G1 by the looks of things. Is that ball going to be touching down, though? Exotic challenging versus Oski into the corner. Atto does let that one drop, just plays for the block. And overtime, our first one of the grand finals on our fall invitational.
Oski's won the kickoff really well there. Where's this ball falling? It's not quite for a Chronic. Actually, it is. I thought Vatira would get across in time to get the block. It didn't happen, but it won't do too much damage for KC. It actually might work out because somehow Batira, you said he was everywhere earlier, Stumpy. He's gone from making a last-ditch save to getting a flip reset, and now his team are on the attack 20 seconds into the OT.
This would be a chance for Liquid to deliver the 6th game loss that we've seen KC go for. They've only had 5 losses, and they're in the grand finals. Their play has been phenomenal. Itachi, though, in the back right corner, goes high with it with 0 boost, and then just falls to Oski off the ceiling. He's going to be able to get a double off it instead. Exotic knows how that play goes, and he's read that book many times.
Lovely touch there from Oski towards a Chronic. This could be the game win, and it is. Liquid equalised, and it's there. It would have just passed.
The lofted central back to Oski, down to a Chronic. Batira is there for the touch, but isn't quite able to make it in that snub-nosed Fennec. And Liquid's celebration on their team cams, they jump and they holler and they know that they're in it.
They've stepped up so much. After that first game, Karmine Corp were a step above Team Liquid, as they have been above pretty much everyone they've come up against this tournament. Team Liquid, I'd say that was them at their peak. They had to do a little bit of defending. They had to show patience as well. That's something that Team Liquid can often miss. You get all 3 players charging forward. There, they timed their run forwards ideally, and they got their rewards.
I love seeing that they learned from the previous shot as well, when, you know, the pass could have come in, and that then could have been the difference maker earlier in the game. But then finally, 2 seconds left, the Oski pass is what secures that overtime, and then eventually the overtime win, yet another pass. That seems to be breaking down Karmine Corp, because they are going for sheer speed. They are diving at the ball, and it's worked so far. It's worked against every opponent they've come up against, time and time again, but Liquid potentially finding that key through.
Team Liquid are a dogged team as well. I mean, even against Vitality in the quarterfinals, there were some games where they were a couple of goals up and Vitality came back and Liquid would still win it. They don't seem to me to be a team that over-till. You know, they'll overextend, but it's not necessarily because they're getting frustrated. Their team dynamic is looking pretty good, and it's really helping them right now. Again, look at this on the kickoff. Oh my goodness, so close. But we do have a counter attaching up against the Chronic, but lovely defending from the Chronic. Not 1 touch, but 2.
Managing to stay in the air, can block that second shot away. He knew it was coming, shut down the angles. No sense going to the floor. You're going to do nothing there. Iconic now on the right-hand side. Left if you're Itachi, as he just managed to collect that ball. 40 boosts. Atto wants to get that central yet again. With Oski, his chance to get it central. We're seeing so many passes come in. Batira with 1 beat out, but literally the worst bounce that KC could have suffered.
I was just wondering, how is that ball going to bounce? Is it going to roll up? Is it going to hit the wall first and come down and be available for a shot? Nope, it was pretty much directly on the edge and spooned its way towards the center.
Another pass in from Oski, sees Exotic having to clear it towards that right-hand wing with 30 boost. The ball instead is left for Atto. An interception from nowhere. Sees now Oski shooting. It is passing as many times as Liquid humanly can, until Atto passes to himself 3 times and the save from Exotic.
Oh, but still the attack comes in. Another save there. Itachi this time in the top corner. Batira can slow it down, but Atto is on him so quick. Team Liquid peaking right now against Karmine Corp.
This is peaking. Oh, there's so much more that we can see from Liquid. This is just KC being able to defend out, well, I'm saying like 80% of what we've seen from Liquid. This is a disservice if this is peaking.
I mean, I think that triple touch wasn't far off peaking. I've got no idea how that one was kept out. Karmine Corp somehow found a way. They had a little bit of attack, but Team Liquid survived that too. So defensively, they're looking okay, Team Liquid. Itachi is going to win this one cleaner though. Batira really wanted that pass. Itachi ignored him, went over the top. Batira might be able to profit in the end. Quite more good defending. Chronic has a chance here. This should be 1-0.
Oh, beautiful.
Lovely finish. And it is the 1-0.
The tip on from that final shot is Exotic and Itachi in each other's way in the end, where Exotic didn't need to go in for that. Chronic can then tap it on from the pass from Atto, who just had to get it downfield. Chronic is waiting, and Chronic is getting that first goal. And that is the lead for Team Liquid. I think their first one in this series.
Yeah, I think it's the first time they've scored the first goal in a game. Just saying how much better they have been at starting each time. No longer surprised by Karmine Corp's speed and aggression. Itachi sets that one up, and Atto wins the race, or at least gets to that wide. Oski's got not too much boost, but thankfully for him, Chronic's helping out. Now Exotic, his turn to send it high. It's not really happening for Karmine Corp all of a sudden. You know, these passes that were so influential earlier on, they're being read by Team Liquid every single time, and there's actually some misses coming in, some whiffs from KC. They seem shaken to me.
There's a few chances. Yeah, you're right, where you're seeing Vatira go up for a ball and they're kind of shying away from it. Iconic, they're thinking there's going to be a block, but instead KC stay completely grounded. From Vatira to Exotic, and a miss from Oski leaves open again for Vatira to shoot, but Atto is able to cover the vulnerable net. Exotic now with 80 boost. He's Itachi waiting, wants to drop it down with yet another 50, where he got that first goal in game number 1.
What we do know about Karmine Corp is that they will not panic. Sure, things aren't really happening for them at the moment, but they've got the presence of mind to just pass the ball around, make sure they don't go 2 goals behind, and know if they can get that ball forward, they will eventually have boost, and they will be able to break through this Team Liquid defense. Team Liquid have to be aware that any second that can happen, and maybe they can double their own lead. Not quite on that occasion.
And Karmine are, bear in mind, the highest scoring goals per game team that we've had in this entire regional. And to shut them out would be a huge statement. Yet again, this series is all about statements to be made. And if we see that, it's going to be quite confidence-inspiring, I'm sure, going into game number 4 with 1:30 left. It's Atto to defend. Exotic waits and lurks, gets it central. Itachi is going to be able to shoot, but Chronic from nowhere steer it away to the side. Left-hand wing sees Atto in the sky. 20 boost and a flip reset below 1. Side of another. Nearly the jump on Exotic.
Still might work out for a goal, though, for Team Liquid. The first play didn't quite happen, but they recycled, they kept it going, and they get their just desserts.
And doubling up with 1:10 left. A goal from Oski back round behind Vatira. Big. Liquid seeming incredibly confident, getting that 1 overtime win. That 2-second goal has opened up that game, of course, and this third one.
Could be through here. Atto, he wants to go towards his teammate off the backboard. Oski's coming in. Team Liquid, I love this from them. It would be so tempting to try and defend at 2 goals up, but that's not the Team Liquid way. They want to make it through. They want to build even more momentum going into game number 4, and they're potentially doing it the right way, but that miss might put them in trouble. Itachi, he's blocked down. Exotic is charged down now by Oski.
2 up.
And now there's 2 of them. They're racing to the ball. It's just gone a little bit wide.
It's not too bad though, because now, although Liquid are low on boost, there was quite a lot back in their own half, and so they all recover. That one bouncing, bobbling, temptingly over towards the backboard. Chronic is up to shoot it. Thought it was going to be a 50 with Exotic, but instead, Atto is on clean-up duty. Going to the backboard. Oski's there to receive. Triple-up goals for Team Liquid.
Look at the pace here. Atto coming in from the side, breaking rotation and staying on the ball as well. While doing it, getting so much power on the ball. And of course, as soon as it hit that backboard, you just knew. Oski was hitting that 100 times out of 100, and so it proved to be.
It's the emphatic passing that we're seeing Liquid trying to utilize as often as they can. Trying to go for them speedy. Nothing lofty, nothing floaty and awkward where there's going to be an interception. It's full send, full bore, full win. And Team Liquid, they've been able to do so in this third game. And that is going to be, strangely enough, for a lot of people in chat, for the 70-80% that were saying it was going to be KC, it is the series lead for Liquid as we go into game number 4.
Now, keeping a clean sheet against Karmine Corp, you said they're the top scorers in this regional. They are the top scorers in this season overall, and they were held to absolutely nothing. So it is no surprise that Karmine Corp have opted to take a tactical timeout to talk things through, because that was, let's just say, a deserved 3-0 Team Liquid victory.
Yeah. And in fairness to you as well, Cole, towards the end of that game, we got closer to peaking. I will say, I think it started off as the machine was whirring up and it felt like it was, oh, okay, this is something. We're getting there, but we weren't quite at max speed, but that felt somewhere near it. A brilliant upswing towards the end of this split so far for Team Liquid, vying to try and get that EU number 2 spot. Team Secret is their target to face at the Rotterdam Major. Otherwise, bear in mind, everybody, if they get 4th, which is what they're guaranteed to do, regardless of what happens, if they lose, they will be going up against version 1 from North America.
We're seeing something when this game resumes that we haven't really seen since the Fall Open, the first regional of this split in EU, and that's Karmine Corp on the ropes, because it has been such a smooth run for them since then. So cast your minds back to when Oxygen Esports beat them 4-2 in that first grand finals, and it was mechanics, it was pace, it was momentum that they built against Karmine Corp that KC then struggled to deal with. And Team Liquid, pace and mechanics, that's pretty much what you associate them with.
Yeah. It's also pace to a fault at times. I remember looking at some of the stats that we saw throughout the season so far. And like Oski and Atto were the two highest players that used the most amount of boost, with only like half of it stolen as well, when you normally see like, what, 60-65% of it stolen. So they're grabbing boost, they're going for it straight away. And the fact that two of them are spending most of the time in the opposition half as well, it suggests that we're seeing a lot of a chronic towards the back too. But when all three of them get involved and it becomes that bim bam, the passing between each other as often as they want to without the interceptions coming in from their opposition, that is when we see Liquid at their most dangerous. And that is absolutely what we saw in that third game. But game number 4 on Utopia is going to be a chance for KC to work their way back into the series. Otherwise, sure, they've locked in their first spot, but they want to get that double win.
Yeah, completely. They don't want to be the other team that have second, first.
Yeah.
They want to be the only team, at least from EUNA, that have first, second. That is where the real money is, and that is what KC will be fighting for. That's what the Blue Wall will expect them to find a way to manage, even against Team Liquid, even against 3 players who have pretty much never failed any task put upon them in Rocket League. You know, when they came together in spring, no one really expected them to make the London Major. They did. It literally was too late to make Worlds. I think they had to win the London Major to even stand a chance to make Worlds. Such was how late these 3 came together. But they've always managed to find a way, Team Liquid. So maybe they are the way to snuff the KC flame.
And I want to keep bringing it up as well. They also reverse swept G2 on that fateful day, and it was wonderful to watch from the arena. It was just an incredible atmosphere. Nobody was there apart from production and talent, and it was so much fun just to see Liquid just go to the ability that we know that they've been able to show off. And for this org being able to say that, yeah, that's our team. We saw them from the Ashes. And Itachi, the Ashes part, and he is able to get the opener.
If you want to be part of the next major, you can still go. I think it's ! tickets. You can find your way to Rotterdam, and you can see goals like this live. Imagine that.
That would have been incredible. Imagine seeing that live. The demo reverberating around the arena, the ball hit, where you feel it in your chest, and it goes, wonderful stuff. If within the first minute, KC getting that opening goal, and that timeout clearly working because they seem to have a lot more influence on this game.
That was so near to 2-0 as well. We were millimeters away from a touch that I think would have sent that ball goalwards for KC. But it didn't quite happen. They do have the attack going on still. Batira has a lovely touch and a gorgeous second one as well. So Exotic can fly in. He has to be really wary of attacking here. He did not pay him anywhere near enough respect. Somehow they're surviving. Oh, lovely pass. That could have been a misses though. Atachi surely. No, it's wide again. Finally, the ball goes over the line and it's 2-0.
So many of those, as I'm sure people would have noticed, could have been in. And then finally, it's just when the ball is above you and you're waiting in net and your camera just does not know what to do and you're sitting in your gaming chair getting whiplash, that's what Liquid, I think, were experiencing in that moment. But the full pressure from KC allowed that second goal to come in, and a timeout continuing to pay dividends.
It's exciting to me that Karmine Corp do have another gear. They have found things so simple that the question was always, when they're really pushed, when they're against the wall, how much more can they dig into? I think we're seeing that they do have more to dig into. Because actually, we were talking about that first regional, right? And Karmine Corp, they were an ultra-aggressive team. They didn't have anywhere near the balance that they're showing now as all 3 of them dive towards the ball on the goal line. It seems that they're tapping into a little bit of that, chucking themselves at it, showing a less controlled but more attacking playstyle now.
The back corner pass to Exotic, and the leaving of the ball now leaves the goal completely open for Oski to try and capitalise.
What?
And he does. Wondrous play. Oski using every single brain cell of brilliance. The reset, goes low, taps it in. That is far from a dumpster fire that his tag seems to suggest.
I mean, the man had no momentum at all on his car at any part of that play. The ball didn't even bounce. Everything about that goal was just wrong in my mind, but I'm sure we'll see it again later and it'll make a little more sense. But we do know, Stumpy, 2-1, and Team Liquid get themselves right back in it.
And halfway through this game, and their demo's really starting to work their way through as well. Exotic was demoing earlier, but this time we saw him getting bumped out of the way by Oski. Oski now removing Exotic from the pitch. It is becoming a lot more physical. Mortars being thrown downrange either way.
Chronic finds a bit of time and space for himself. Sit around, but Batira is so fast as ever. The man is just rapid when he goes to the ball, and he's almost taken a chunk out of Atto. That could have been really dangerous there for Team Liquid, but Karmine Corp can't quite make it work. Vatira will win this one again. Just keep an eye on how often Vatira goes for the ball in the air and how often there's even a 50-50 at the top of it, because he tends to get so... Look at, again, it's a clean hit for Vatira. He's just 2 car lengths ahead of where anyone ever expects him to be. And look at the sort of attacks it leads to for Karmine Corp.
That's why he's so influential in terms of all of these assists and the play makes and the being the selfless man on the pitch. He doesn't need to get the goal because he can facilitate others to do so. The pass from Oski Central facilitating greatness, but Atto gets in the way of that one as Vatira. Sorry, gets in the way of that one as Atto manages to get the shot off. 1 minute 30 remaining. Oski and Itachi battling in the back left. Chronic finding Atto, but turning back round, he then bumps a teammate. It becomes awkward all of a sudden for Liquid.
It's been another shot-heavy game right now, almost 10 for both teams. Exotic in the centre, that's another one, but it's a little bit wide. Exotic follows up somehow. A Chronic blocks that one too. Himble there in the goal area. Oski's got no boost, so all we can do is try and slow this one down for a second. Chronic's low as well. All of Liquid actually a little bit starved. Let's see if they can make anything from it. They can't, and perhaps they've overextended. They had more time left than they thought. Exotic gets a lovely little musty flick, and it's 3-1 Karmine Corp.
That's the most generous use of the term musty flick. It's one that I would score in free play and think nailed it.
Whee!
3-1, KC going ahead. Right, sorry, I'm not letting you get away with that. You said I scored a musty flick and showed me that. I remember that. That was like a year and a half ago.
No.
I just said no.
I almost actually scored a really nice one. It had loads of power on. Anyway, I
personally don't care.
Okay.
But that's just me.
Do you care about the fact that a Chronic just made a save on Exotic, mate? Care about that? Apparently not. Atto to his side. Itachi's there. Good little turnaround here from Team Liquid, but Karmine Corp are now back in their more usual position of being able to try and keep the ball away, swat it away from the upcoming attackers for 30 seconds or so. They love being in this position. They're always there. Such good defending. They keep hold of boost as well, and even if they don't, all they need is one player. Comms perfect for Karmine Corp. This is an absolute lesson in game management right now. Liquid has to break through it. Maybe this is the moment. No, Itachi, another great save. Atto finds Oski. A Chronic, can he just give us something to hope for the last few seconds? No, he can't. Karmine Corp have suppressed Team Liquid's best efforts for a 3-1 game win to make it 2-2 overall.
The repeated low and slow passes from Liquid, I feel they're onto something there. They allow Karmine Corp to throw themselves as hard as they can at the ball and then just chip them, just lob them, just send it low. Like it's a hair's width away from them being completely tackled. But on that final play, they didn't get a goal, but it looked like one of the better chances aside from the point where they actually did get that goal. The shots coming in from Oski, he had 6 in the end, but just the one. He could have been a little bit more clinical with it, I suppose. And that shot coming in is remarkable. The way he was able to get the reset and then tap it just underneath the crossbar is something that I'm sure we're going to be seeing in some kind of top play montage on YouTube.
Karmine Corp, I think they had an inkling that Team Liquid were going to overcommit when they were 2-1 up. They never came near to overextending. And sure enough, Team Liquid did fall into their trap eventually. That's how Karmine Corp got their 3rd goal. I think that's part of what makes Karmine Corp so good. They are an intelligent team. They're not just mechanics. They're not even just decision-making. It's that instinct of what to do when, and it worked for them flawlessly in that last one.
Wasteland is going to see one of these teams go on to series, match, championship point, whatever it is, it's all on the line. And the 5 minutes between now and then is going to be one filled with action as a Chronic is immediately set on the path of saving.
Oh, lovely demo as well from Itachi. That's going to allow him to get a dunk on Oski. And then almost a pass into the center. He did 2 of the 3 things he needed to do there. Didn't do the 3rd, but Exotic got in and helped out.
Oski can bump.
So he's got time. Gets it over the top of Itachi. Exotic from the side. Chronic's there. Been sort of half chances for either team already in this 30 seconds.
Oski was able to bump on that chance, but just didn't want to commit to it fully, which I really feel like he should have done. Like both these teams are so incredibly low on the demos. They're like 15th and 19th at the moment. They don't go for demos. It opened up the game earlier for KC, but why don't Liquid try and abuse that? Why don't they try and send them off that path?
Especially if Karmine Corp have done their homework and know that Team Liquid aren't into that playstyle. It could really surprise them.
Yeah, go for something peculiar. Liquid are so good at being peculiar. As a Chronic on the reset has it saved away from Vatira, but as it comes off the ceiling, the fact he can secure that and have it be a threatening shot and not just one that trickles towards the net, it's something that needs to be utilised a little bit more for Liquid, I feel. A Chronic now going into the right-hand corner with 0 boost on to him. Atto and Vatira challenging. The mid boost picked up by a Liquid player and just keeps getting punted into the corner. You don't really get many goals coming from that position, especially when the long shot can find its way in.
Yeah, that just for a second looked like Team Liquid had done it again and let Karmine Corp in for an easy one. That's what KC are hoping for. That's what they're expecting, if anything, as they stay back there. That's a good read, though, from Atto. Got a lovely block. Tachi's not quite there for the pass that Exotic was looking for, but Vatira is already up. Pre-jumped that one well. Itachi underneath it. Team Liquid there. We're seeing so many passes that are almost. Not quite one that's meeting its target.
Yeah, lots of chances, you're right, but just not being able to get that final 10% right now. We're seeing KC, and I've seen Itachi be quite slow on multiple chances until that low 50 comes in. It was even, but now 1-0 for Liquid opens up the game, and the 50 from Oski is perfect. He gets swiped out the way, but Atto is there to finish what he started.
Lovely finish there from Atto as well. That was a proper boomer from the lad on the floor. Just a little bump, and it's the goal. Team Liquid earned it, though. It was that touch in the centre that did all the hard work. I know they have done a lot of hard work so far in this game. They're going to have to continue to do so. Now the demos are flying in. You said to mix it up. It's happening, and it works instantly for a response for Karmine Corp.
KC remove that backline and it becomes so easier. Vatira can't help but assist, and Exotic, he can't help but score. The backflip on the line, Atto isn't able to get any touch on that chance. 1-1 as we approach halftime. Wasteland is living up to that name of the scrap heap.
We had to have a close game, didn't we, on Wasteland? The one going into that 3-2 swing either way. It's always going to be nervy. There's going to be a thrashing right here, especially between these two, the way they're both playing. Connor gets it around the corner. Itachi is beaten to the ball. Exotic all alone slows it down. That is so wise from Exotic. I thought he was going to send that one out wide. There were Liquid players looming. So instead he just waits, does a pretty much purposeful backflip and slows things down.
Oski leaves that backboard and pinches alongside Vatira on the ceiling, who again is getting challenged so high in the skies that he's been pretty much shut down for a lot of this game. Yeah, he got an assist earlier, but it came from that demo coming in. If he gets shut down in a lot of the times when he takes an aerial play, then they're going to do pretty well out of it, I feel. Vatira again going up high and gets challenged by Atto this time, shutting him down as often as they're able to.
Karmine Corp are trying to do these little mini fakes and jukes, and Team Liquid just aren't falling for it at all. Karmine Corp's attempts at dictating the pace are pretty much falling on deaf ears as far as Team Liquid are concerned. They're attacking the ball very quickly, and that's meaning that Karmine Corp, for now, are just relying on 50-50 challenges to hope something happens. And they will eventually, but not quite the way they want to play the game.
Atto burning a lot of boost there to not get any payoff, realistically, as now Itachi saving it away from the blind spot of Oski. Atto now onto the backboard. 22 boost, a touchdown. The in and out save is successful, but Exotic, he had to wait as that trickler approached.
Yeah, that was like a slow motion in and out save. He actually did really well to keep up his composure there and not rush into it, but that was a mistake. It was from Itachi, I believe, and Atto comes in for the score.
And he rushes, he waits around, he does not leave, despite the fact that he's low on boost. And Vatira, he thought he was confident to take it to the floor and then have the touch. Instead, Atto realizes that's bounced awfully high, Vatira. I fancy punishing you.
Just as we were saying, Team Liquid, they are just diving in, not falling for any of Karmine Corp's tricks. You can't overplay against them when they're like this. Team Liquid, that is. Got to make sure that all your touches are clean. Get rid of that ball as far as Karmine Corp are concerned, because now Team Liquid have got yet another lead to hold on to, and now we find out how their game management is. Last time they had the lead, they lost it in seconds. Can they keep it a little bit longer this time?
Under 45 seconds remaining, and the lead in favor of Liquid is something that earlier on in the day, I don't think anybody realistically fathomed would happen. We all thought, yeah, Liquid get to the final, but KC, they are just the winners. They're going to be able to do it. Instead, Wasteland bearing witness to a potential upset. Oski passing back towards Atto with 100 boost. He has to just retreat because Itachi has smelled blood in the water. Back right. Atto now central, rather. Oski with 100 boost. Gets challenged. Chronic is up quickly, but Exotic is that bit faster.
Atto has to really make sure he stays behind this ball. He's reached by Vatira, but the ball just falls to another Team Liquid player. Almost helped on its way.
Keep away.
Into the KC net. They're doing well. Our Team Liquid, they are doing incredibly, in fact, to make it 3-2 in games to themselves and put them on the cusp of their first regional victory.
It's their first time in the semis. It's their first time in the grand finals this season. And they have managed to have that, and the word for Liquid of the day is uptick. Getting through and being able to beat KC is that statement we were speaking about earlier. It is a stamp of approval from the Rocket League gods that yes, the Major is going to be a place where you will be able to thrive. Karmine Corp, they've used their timeout. They won a game off the back of it, and now they find themselves on the verge of going down 4-2 in the grand finals.
As for Team Liquid itself, this is an org that joined Rocket League in 2020. Okay, they've been here a long old time, and never have they won an RLCS level tournament. They've won a, like a bubble tournament, but never anything like this. They've had their struggles as an org. Finally, they've found their three players, in Chronic, Oski, and Atto. Particularly in Chronic, the man to build the team around. This could be the org's moment as much as the players. Finally, Team Liquid will have an RLCS victory unless Karmine Corp can break their hearts and continue their own split of dominance.
This is going to be that moment where Team Liquid think, yeah, we made that right decision. Yes, they've done incredibly well so far, but until you get that dub, until you lift that metaphorical trophy, you don't necessarily think that it's going to be possible for all of these teams. Of course it is. Not everybody can win. And yet Liquid potentially showing that they are winners here today. In November, at the end of this split, right before the fall major, the online portion, Oski with 27 boosts, these are Chronic Central passes, but Exotic, he is wise to them now, cutting off the infield perfectly.
It's actually, he's up. He's all alone. He's only got a Chronic staring at him, but he can charge down the other Team Liquid player that got the touch. Tira flies in. He's been somewhat blunt with these last couple of games. It was his mistake, but lost in the last one on Wasteland. Can he rectify the error? I'm sure he'll find a way. This could be a chance, and there it is. He gets a little bit of space in the opposition box. He does not miss.
Bob's Ramen witnesses that banger. Coming in for the left-hand wing, Vitira slices across the goal. There was a defender, but you don't necessarily think he's going to shoot there, especially considering his passing history rather. You normally send that towards the center or off the backboard. Instead, this time going for that straight shot and throwing off the defense. Big clear away from Vitira this time, but caught out by a Chronic. The second touch isn't able to come in, and Oski has to leave the ground as Vitira wanted to challenge him on the floor.
Oski did so well there. Chronic, a goal-saving demo, I think, flying in, but Karmine Corp are keeping up this pressure. They very well could double up their lead soon the way things are going. Exotic puts that one to the side and gets the second touch, but it only sends him wide. It's all a bit desperate right now for Team Liquid, and that's because Karmine Corp once again have gone up yet another gear.
Oof.
Team Liquid now playing counter-attacking Rocket League.
How do they have 8 gears? It's the fact that KC are able to just, okay, we've got them in 5th gear, fair play, you are flying. 6th gear, okay, you look unbeatable. We're on like 8th gear now. And the fact that they are able to just continue finding ways to improve is mind-boggling to me. And also it shows that they know that there are areas that they can improve on in any given game. Oski stealing one boost away, sees a couple central, instead fakes that one away and then maintains control. Great play from him with the reset. Only 10 though, goes for the double, goes for the bump, but misses both of them as Exotic takes full control of this play.
He has Atto in front of him, gets it past him, tries to maneuver the ball into the corner. It was actually very similar to Vitira's finish that put Karmine Corp in the lead earlier on, just from the other side.
Demo?
Team Liquid have a chance. There's a Musty. Oh, it's exactly
the equalizer! Atto! Hey, but I don't care if that's what he meant. He gets the goal. It fakes out Vitira in its entirety. Vitira has to block high, he has to block low, and instead it can trickle its way in. They all count for one, and the equalizer is exactly what we needed to see from Liquid on Neo Tokyo with dead level.
Another chance maybe early on after the kickoff for Team Liquid. Atto to the ceiling. So I think there was a double commit there from Karmine Corp, but Exotic falls down heroically. Now we've got a bump attempt for Tira. He's up against Oski, who's just been bumped. It hits Exotic en route and somehow doesn't go in.
And the sheer patience from Oski there just to wait on the floor, knows that if he goes high, Vitira's waiting for him. He wants him to jump to get out of position. Brilliant play from him. Large Oscar is certainly fully in play here. Sent long with 2 minutes remaining for Exotic to pick up. Atto challenging, again completely diving at every ball that they can with the sheer speed and grace of a lion on a train. To save away Itachi high into that corner. Instead now 3 commit on the ball. KC looking somewhat flummoxed at the pressure they're being subjected to.
But still they refuse to concede again. They do not want to go behind here. They have to win this one to KC just to force the game 7. Otherwise, the regional belongs to Team Liquid. KC do get a huge clearance all the way to the other end. It's massive. Same again, back and forth. No one wants to make a mistake at this point. The boomer ball comes out, but that is an unforced double commit. Can it put them in too much danger? There's a miss there. Another fake from a chronic. Vatira's coming in. And Oski just gets the ball away from his own goal.
It was that and a double backflip. It opened the gate somewhat for KC to get something, but instead nobody comes in. Oski pre-flipping onto that ball with 0 boost. He now ends up with 1. Wants to rotate via that mid, but Vatira looking dangerous in the skies. So to save it away on that occasion. A chronic high with Oski committing as well. That's going to be another burn 30 boost. Atto missing. Instead, Itachi goes to the backboard, but a chronic positioning leaves that ball in a very boomable position.
All of these players are stretched. They are tired. The amount of misses coming in the air is unlike anything we've seen in this series so far. Like nothing we've seen from Karmine Corp in this entire split. Such is the exhaustion that Team Liquid's constant attack is putting upon them. We remain locked. 1-1, 30 seconds left. Champions Field potentially beckoning, but Karmine Corp have to just unlock that. Oh, maybe this is it. No, it's another save. A huge block on the goal line from Team Liquid.
Pass?
And now they have the pass to the other side. Itachi, he backflips. And Exotic is in the perfect place to take it away.
In the air is KC, and it falls to the back left corner. Atto challenges Itachi. Instead, Itachi can weasel his way through. Backboard for Oski to send it long. A chronic goes for the bump on Exotic. Oski again going for these attacks. So many 50s coming central. Atto wants to go for that one to get a pass off. Instead, Exotic now at 0 seconds, 1-1. This overtime, as it apparates, is going to separate us from either a champion on Neo Tokyo or Champions Field Game 7.
Exotic should be able to boom this one away, but now a chronic comes in. It's a good start to the overtime right now for Team Liquid. Karmine Corp back into defensive responsibilities as soon as possible. This one could be it. Oh, Itachi! He just about nips in, but Team Liquid will carry on.
Again, Aerial is a chronic. The backboard has Vatira clearing it long. They're starting to get withered away. Low on boost. Atto with a pre-jump still can't beat out the speed of Exotic. A chronic just has to clear that one long. Exotic, they sees him land back on the floor. Atto to receive Oski's pass. A save from Itachi, keeping KC in this series and competition.
They do not look comfortable right now, though, Karmine Corp. Vatira might be able to give them just a little bit more comfort. He hasn't got it at least down to the other end. Pass almost backfired. Team Liquid read it, but they couldn't quite get the touch. And Oski can clear.
The sheer aggression from KC, they know what works for them. It's throwing everything. That's going to ramp down awkwardly, but Atto's able to read it fantastically. Somehow, in the end, Vatira high on boost, but low on going forward power. The acceleration just not going for him there. Oski and Itachi challenging in that back left corner now, floating awkwardly. Neither team wanted to commit on that ball. So every single play could be the final one. Exotic bumping one. Vatira now in the skies. We know how dangerous he is. The bump, the chance, the Oski to be the blockade. That one now floating very nicely, but nobody taking the full chance on it. Now the 100 boost picked up by Vatira. He doesn't go for the reset. Instead, he goes to the ceiling. No one to shoot this time for KC as Exotic hangs back.
Finally, KC had run out of boost, and Team Liquid can nip away Vatira. Huge save and the composure and presence of mind to get it all the way again on the floor. Of staying grounded, this player. Never waste an aerial, but Team Liquid playing in the air. It's a real difference in dynamics right now. Team Liquid to the skies, KC on the floors. Which one is going to come out on top? This one's going to fall to Atto, and he is on the floor.
Straight to the sky with the reset, though. Gets over a single player. Vatira to save it away, but that one's slow, lofting, floaty. As a chronic can shoot, saved away this time. Exotic and Itachi both committing on that one. A little bit of panic potentially on that goal line. Vatira shooting, and Oski pre-jumping the save. Get down, Mr. President. We need you alive.
Exotic has to avoid Oski there. He did just about enough. Atto up against Vatira. He nearly passed him. Atto gets it into the top right corner. Team Liquid, for the first time in the Org's history, take a regional victory. And these three players will be EU's second seeds at the Rotterdam Major.
Champions in Europe. Team Liquid have fought so hard to get this victory. They have been through trials and tribulations this entire season, going back to last season. They had the chance to prove themselves at the major, and they get another one. Spring, that was their first attempt. Their second one, a second seed, Cole. They managed to face off now against version 1 as their first round opponent. It's not going to be easy, but when have Liquid ever done anything the easy way?
Well, Falcons Armad tweeted that he wanted to see Liquid at Rotterdam before they played their semi-finals. They have done more than qualify for Rotterdam. They've won the regional, have Team Liquid. This is like a microcosm of their last season, struggling at the beginning. And then at the end, they just turn into this ultimate machine. But Karmine Corp Stumpy, we saw their player reactions earlier on. They looked frustrated. They have to harness this when they get to Rotterdam themselves. As a reminder, EU's #1 seed.
Yes, that is what a battle. The fact that, we were looking at all the results flying in on Friday, but unfortunately we couldn't be with the Liquid boys, which I don't want to say it's our fault now that we weren't there for the Friday, and then they go through and win the bridge. It's our fault. Fair enough. Sorry. We'll take the L on the previous two. But the fact that we were looking, we were like, oh no, they've got BDS in that round 5, and then they beat them. Then we're thinking, oh, okay, the quarterfinals, it's going to be a tough road, and they win, and then they win the third one. This playoff bracket has been a chance for Liquid to thrive and show exactly what they have been able to do. And I am nothing but proud of what we have seen those Liquid fellas achieve. Karmine Corp, they've got a lot to do when they get through to the Rotterdam Major. But before then, you're right, we got a desk.